Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talks, where every movie I talk about, new or old, ignites a conversation. Come join me on the cinematic journey as I turn back the clock and talk in depth about some of the greatest films of all time. Before we get started, I wanted to thank everybody for sticking with me. I haven't been putting out as much content as I've wanted to, and I know I said I was going to be putting out a lot of content this month, so I want to thank everybody for doing that. Also, before we get started today, I wanted to really touch upon something, um, and that's something with the retrospectives. So I'm going to be trying something very different with them. Okay. Before I would go through all of the pre-production and the casting and everything else, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to really start with this and moving forward with it. I'm going to really need your feedback. Um, I'm going to try and make this a lot shorter. Okay. And when I mean a lot shorter, I mean like 20 to 40 minutes shorter. Um, so my goal, and this is going to be the first real one we're going to start with, try and do this, is anywhere between 20 to 5 to 30 minutes. Um, because I know you guys, you've got busy schedules, you've got busy lives, you're doing, a couple things. And I've really noticed this with Anatomy of a Movie. The feedback's been very good. Um, and the 8 to 10 minutes that I have been trying to make these at has been working really, really well. So, uh, one of my members that has just been with me from the very beginning, I want to thank Dadpool. He says, "Hey Dave, 42 is one of my favorite sports films of all time." Rick Chadwick, thank you very much. And yes, Rip Chadwick. And I have a lot of stuff. So I don't want to give everything away, but I am going to be doing something very impressive, or trying to do something very impressive for March. And we're going to be calling it Marvel March. So I want to thank Deadpool very much for not only sticking with me, thank you very much for the super chat and becoming a member for 8 more months. He's been with me since the beginning. So when I make it, Deadpool, you're going to be right there with me. Um, but I really wanted to touch upon that. It's going to be different retrospectives. Like I said, I'm going to try and do them 25 to 30 minutes, and I think that's going to really be the time because you guys are busy. I know that. So, anyways, all that being said, let's get to what we're going to do today. So, as we're wrapping up Black History Month, we're almost at the end of the month. And I've done a couple of movies. I've done Black Panther and I've done a couple others. This is one that is just, it's, he, as a person, we should all strive to be like. Okay. And I'm talking about Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson not only broke barriers and he changed the world, is what he did. He changed the world. And this kind of film had been long overdue. And so, 42. So that was the number of Jackie Robinson Moore. And what I want to do is really go through, and I want to go through the film. And then what I'm going to do as the retrospective, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to give you guys the intro, and then I'm going to give you guys what I really liked about the film, what I really didn't care for the film, and in this case, legacy. Where has it gone, and how has it been? So let's jump right into this. Um, so this was released, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, 11 years ago. It was 11 years ago this movie was released almost. April 12th, 2013. It released to $27.4 million, eventually going on to gross 97. You would have thought a Jackie Robinson movie would have done better, but nonetheless, it did go on to make a lot of home video sales. So it made another $34 million in home video sales. So it made about $125 million, which is fabulous. Okay. Um, this was written and directed. So one of the great films out there, okay, and one of the several great films out there is LA Confidential, Mystic River, and of course the movie Legend, starring Tom Hardy as he plays the Cray brothers, gangster movie. He played both Reginald and his brother. So this was written and directed by the same guy who did that. Now he has an Academy Award, of course, in 1997. he ended up winning the Academy Award for LA Confidential. Mystic River, fabulous movie, set in Boston, yay. Uh, but seriously, that cast was stacked. Kevin Bacon, Sean Penn, that was just an amazing movie. And Legend was very good as well. So um, it had a budget, which was really interesting. It had a budget anywhere between 31 to 40. I mean, nobody really knows, but let's say 30 to 40 million dollars. And so it wasn't going to be a huge moneymaker. And it never was going to be. This was never going to blow the doors off anything. Okay. But this was going to really generate some buzz. So this stars, okay, Chadwick Boseman, okay, and fabulous, you know, Dad Pool said it right. We lost him way, way, way too young. Um, but fabulous actor, okay, for what he did, okay. He's always going to be remembered for Black Panther, okay, but I mean, has played some legendary people. He played some legendary people in his time. Jackie Robinson, just others. Thurgood Marshall, some other really solid characters. So this stars Chadwick Boseman, and he plays the title character of Jackie Robinson, and Harrison Ford. Now, this is a little offbeat for Harrison Ford. I mean, everybody knows him from Indiana Jones and Han Solo and, all of these other franchises. But this was a little offbeat for him. And he was getting to a time in his career where he could do other things, right? He wasn't an upcoming actor. He was able to do other things. He was able to take any project he want. I mean, this is Harrison Ford we're talking about. So the other real big name, if you will, was Christopher Meloni. Christopher Meloni is, he stars in this as the manager, okay? And everybody really knows him from television. I mean, he was on Oz, okay, all those years ago. But he's been more of a television actor, okay? He's never strayed in, and he's never delved into films. This one, absolutely, okay? So those are the three main notable household name actors. There's a number of other actors in this film that is just top notch as well. So you have Andre Holland, who's playing Wendell Smith. You have Nicole Berry, who's playing his wife, Rachel Robinson. So, I mean, there are others there that really stand out too. Alan Tudyk played a tough role, then back and forth between him and Jackie with brutal. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And that's one of the things that Chadwick says in the movie, that he is not able to look. They couldn't take the liberties that, you would put on screen today. It's not a reality. So, so basically those are the names that you really need to know. Hey Dave, this is truly a great film for sure. Chadwick's performance as James Brown and Get Out, and that's another great film he's done. I mean, we were just talking about Black Panther, and is another truly excellent performance. Gone, unfortunately, too soon. Yeah, he is. I mean, he was an amazing actor. And I was watching an interview with him prior to coming on today, and I think it was Jake Hamilton who sat down with him talking about 42. He's like, "Who was your go-to person?" And really, he said Sidney Poitier. I mean, Poitier was the guy, right? Raising in the Sun, In the Heat of the Night, and everything he had to go with. And then, of course, later on, you've got Denzel, you've got all of these other great, fantastic actors. And this movie was it's a hard watch. You know what's going to happen. This is one of those movies where you know who the person is. You know what they went through, but it's still a hard watch. You cringe every time something happens to the title character. You cringe because you're like, oh God. Because if it happened today, I mean, yes, there would be a lot of outrage and everything else, but it's one of those things where that was fluent back then. That was like secondary back then. That was like English back then. And today you're like, whoa. And we take a step back and we really examine it. But to your point, playing James Brown, that's not an easy character. I mean, playing Black Panther, the first black superhero, playing Jackie Robinson. I mean, the pressure. And he was even asked by Jake, was there pressure? He's like, no, not really. I mean, there was a little bit, but he knew. I mean, he had, Rachel Robinson by his side, and she went through a lot of she reviewed every single draft of the script. So it was one of those things where she was on board with everything that happened. He said the toughest thing of all of the things that happened, and I want to just play this, but he said there wasn't a lot of pressure, but one of the things that he really wanted to do. I mean, we see the romance. These two are madly, madly in love, and nothing's going to stop them, right? Branch Rickey, played by Harrison Ford, of course, was a visionary. And he knew that seeing this person was going to really change his ball club. And that being said, he wanted to win. It didn't matter if it was black. And that was the thing. He didn't look at the person's skin, he looked at his talents. And, I mean, what I always say, the phrase I always use is when somebody says, we might be talking about politics for a minute, and they say, well, Barack Obama was the first black president, and I said, no, you're wrong. He was the first president who was black or African American. Because here's the thing: the minute you put race in front of whatever the title is, you've lost the battle. You've lost the battle. Because that means you're stereotyping that person at that time. Was he a good president? Wasn't he? I mean, that's up for debate, several years down the road. But the fact that he was able to do that, and he was the first president who was African American, that's the key thing. Getting back to the whole thing. So Branch Rickey saw something. And so when Jake sat down with Chadwick, he said there was a lot of pressure on him. But there was one scene in which he really had trouble with. And that was this.
The hardest part for me is the scene in the tunnel where he breaks down. I asked Rachel Robinson, did he ever break down? Did he ever lose it? And she basically said she never saw it because he didn't bring that into their space. They had a cherished space, and it tells you a lot about their relationship that they made sure that they sort of supported each other and stayed strong for each other. So he would, go hit golf balls or have different activities that he would go do.
And that's pretty amazing. The fact that you're able to separate your professional life from your personal life and not bring it the works or not bring it home with you is incredible. And that just goes to show you about the power of their love and how he never, ever let her see it. He never wanted to see her feel for him because she knew vicariously what she was going through. I mean, yes, she had racial slurs and everything else hurled at her as well because she was associated, but never did he ever bring his work home. And that's incredible. That really is incredible. So, basically, this is going to, I'm not going to go too far into it. So, in 1945, Brooklyn owners Branch Rickey, of course, played by Harrison Ford, meets with sports writer Wendell Smith regarding wanting a black baseball player for his team. Wendell suggests that Jackie Robinson of the Kansas City Monarchs, of course, this is the Negro League. Robinson accepts, but is warned by Rickey that he must control his temper despite the adversities he's going to face, and breaking the color line. And that was the biggest thing. Okay, he was breaking the color barrier. So Robinson proposes. She said yes. As I said, they're deeply in love. So they weren't really, you know, that was the last thing. He earns a spot with the Montreal Royals, the AAA affiliate, and then he comes up after performing very well. He advances to the Dodgers as a first baseman. Some of the Dodgers draft a petition refusing to play with Robinson. And so the manager rebuffs him. So this is the scene here, and I'll play this real quick. This is the scene. And every single movie has a scene, like one or two scenes or one or two things that are just, this is it. This is it.
Wake up, somebody! Wake up!
I don't care if he is yellow or black or has stripes like a zebra. If Robinson can help us win, and everything I have seen says he can, then he is going to play on this ball club. Like it, lump it, make your minds up to it, because he's coming. And think about this when your heads hit the pillows tonight. He's only the first, boys. Only the first. There are more coming right behind them every day, and they have got talent, and they want to play. Oh, yeah, they are going to come scratching and diving. So I would forget your petition and worry about the field, because unless you fellas pay a little more attention to your work, they're going to run you right out of the ballpark.
Luckily, there were people back then that were level-headed, that saw eye to eye. Now, one of the pictures and the scenes I'm not going to show you is Leo and Branch having lunch, talking about this, and bringing this idea up to the manager, and he was on board. Of course, he's getting paid by the owner, so of course. But at the same time, he's like, look, do whatever you have to win. Because we all know sports is a very competitive business and everything else. So anything to try and get an edge, and that's what you do. So, he shuns that, as you could see, and be like, look, this isn't going to happen. If he can help us win right now, he's going to help us win. However, the manager is suspended by the commissioner, Happy Chancellor, due to off-field activities, we'll call them. And Robinson and Rachel have the first child. So this is where it starts to get really dicey, for lack of a better word. So in a game with the Phillies, okay, Ben Chapman basically taunts him, okay? And so, he basically, with encouragement from Ricky, he helps, score the winning run. And when Chapman's behavior toward Robinson generates negative press, the GM requires him to pose with him in Life magazine. Later, Pee Wee Reese comes to understand what kind of pressure he's really under at that point. And that's one of the most iconic scenes in not only sports. I mean, we talk about iconic things, but having the fact that, you have one of your ball players who is now going to accept you for who you are and not what color of skin you are. And he's, that what you're not hearing here is he's getting booed vigorously. And they wanted to throw stuff at him because of this. And that was Pee Wee Reese at the time was one of the most incredible ball players of his generation. And to have him stand in solidarity with Robinson right there was amazing. Once that happened, and he was really the leader of the team, everybody else came on board. And they said, look, the clip there and the audio, he said, like, look, maybe we'll help, this is after he's let him win several games. He's like, look, maybe we'll all wear 42 tomorrow. The script was decent. It wasn't Academy Award winning, but it was decent. Subsequently, there's other things. For example, one of the St. Louis Cardinals players spikes Robinson in the back. The Dodgers want revenge, but calm him instead and, winning the game. He goes to, one of the pitchers who hit him in the head earlier, and he wins the pennant. It's basically to say, okay, You're going to do this? Fine. I'm going to do this back. And then, a series of texts in the epilogue shows that Robinson and his teammates and future involvements as well. So, I mean, that's the whole movie itself. As he said, he faced incredible pressures by the press. I mean, one of the press members asked him, "What if he throws at your head?" He's like, "I'm just going to duck." So essentially, he used nonviolence as a weapon against everybody else that wanted to hate him, because not because he was talented, because there were plenty of other talented players in the Dodgers, but because of his skin color. And I think that really goes to show you something. And it was just incredible to see how he was able to not. I mean, you saw the clip where he was slamming things, and you could tell he wanted to fight back. And Ricky at one point he said, "Look, you don't fight back with words. You fight back on the field. So when you hit a home run against this guy, it's basically putting up the middle finger against him. Okay, fine. You want to do this? Boom. I'm going to hit a home run." And he just jogs around the bases, and what are they going to do? Right? That's the ultimate FU to somebody like that. And so, yeah, the whole movie is about essentially Robinson overcoming the odds. This is it's an inspirational movie. It really is. And he was an inspirational player. Unfortunately, I mean, he was only 53, and he suffered a heart attack on October 24th, 1972. He was only 53 years old. And that's just, when we talk about people that are gone too soon, definitely he was gone too soon. I mean, Chadwick playing him and Robinson, they were gone way too soon. And we need more Jackie Robinsons, not only in today's society, but in sports. And that's a whole other video for another time. So now that I basically walked you through the movie, what I'm going to do now is tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like about the film, and my overall thoughts. So what I liked about the film: courage and perseverance. Jackie Robinson's story is one of the most remarkable stories of courage and perseverance in the face of immense adversity. Despite facing threats of racism, hostility, and death threats, Robinson remained determined and didn't deter to succeed and pave the way for future generations of African American athletes. And when you look at today, sports in itself owes Jackie Robinson a huge thank you. And like, Leo said at the end of that clip, they're coming. He's just the first one, guys. They're coming. So you better be prepared. Leadership and integrity. 42 underscores Robinson's leadership qualities and unwavering commitment to integrity. He endured racial slurs and discriminations with dignity and grace while maintaining his focus on the performance of the field. We have seen this even in today's society and today's game, where we have these fans that are belligerent, racist, everything else. And these athletes, they want to, I mean, they it's more of a visceral type of thing. I mean, anybody who's a sports fan about 30 years ago remembers the whole Ron Artest, when he climbed in the seats, completely different thing, but it's still, Russell Westbrook, he's had racial slurs thrown at him, civil rights and social justice. This film really portrays Robinson's journey as a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. His breaking of the color barrier in Major League Baseball symbolizes a broader struggle for equality and social justice. And that's what it is. The number of athletes that we have today in all of sports that are able to play their respective sports because of Jackie Robinson is incredible. It's absolutely astounding. The power of sport in itself. The film celebrates the transformative power of power in sports and breaking down racial barriers and fostering social change. Baseball served as a platform for challenging prejudice and promoting inclusivity and diversity. And we're still seeing that today in other sports. Whether it's the pay gaps in, certain men's to women's sports or, you know, just everything in general. So we still have a long way to go. We still have a long way to go. But we've definitely have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. There's a scene where, well, I'll get to it when we talk to the bat. So let's dive into the things I didn't care for, okay, about this film. The racial segregation. 42 delves into the deep-seated racial segregation prevalent in American society during the mid-20th century, especially in sports. It highlights the systematic barriers in discrimination between African American athletes like Jackie Robinson, and like the number of racial slurs in this movie. Anybody who's seen the movie Django Unchained, Quentin Tarantino film, okay, with Christoph Waltz and others, it rivals the number of slurs that is going back and forth. And I'm not kidding about that. That is absolutely true. Because, like I said, it was prevalent back then. Having the N word come out of your mouth was like second nature. And that's what it was. It was prevalent. And like I said, this is a hard watch. It's an inspirational movie, but it's a hard watch. I've always said, personally speaking, adversity defines what kind of character you have. And that being said, okay, the more adversity you go through and you come out on the other side, the better your character. He had the best character in the world going through all of the adversity. There is a quite powerful scene at the end, which I'm going to get to right now. There is a scene where there's a father and a Caucasian father and son sitting down, and Robinson is on the field. And this is after, Pee Wee's put his arm around him and everything else. And there's a scene where the father still isn't convinced, and he hurls a racial slur at Robinson. And if anybody's seen the film, they know what I'm talking about. And the kid is on the precipice. This is one of those things where, is the cycle going to continue? And it holds, there for a couple of minutes, and they talk. And then the kid says the N-word. And that's it. Does the cycle of violence and segregation and everything else is going to continue with his son? Because he doesn't, he's learning from his father. Right? The biggest thing about this film is the racial segregation. And we don't have athletes today like Jackie Robinson, like a Muhammad Ali. Yes, we have powerful athletes, LeBron James and everything else, but and they're multi-million, nearly billionaires. But the thing is that at the same time, that they're not out there. Like LeBron isn't out there during the offseason promoting all of these different causes. He'll give money to charity and everything else, but he's not out there vigorously, marching somewhere, okay, or doing something. Because today it's a business. He's a businessman, essentially. And the thing is that he can't hurt his business. Whereas 50 years ago, back in Robinson's time, there was, it wasn't about that. It was about just playing the sport of baseball or playing the sport of basketball. Now it's a business today, both on the owner's side and the player's side. So that leads to the last thing. Okay. What has. Oh, she is an activist. I did not know that. Thank you for that, Yuki. I was not aware of that. Thank you for that. That's good to know. That is very good to know. So that leads us into the final aspect of this whole thing: legacy. Where does Jackie Robinson sit? Okay. Now I'm going to bring up some statistics for Robinson. Now, when I say greatest, we throw the word GOAT, or greatest of all time, out there a lot. Whether it's Tom Brady in football, whether it's Michael Jordan in basketball, or whoever. This isn't, and the reason why I don't like quote greatest of all time, because the thing is, I'll say greatest of a generation, because there's different things. Like, these statistics don't, and you can equate them to what it is, but still, he wasn't playing for championships back then. Players are playing for championships because we monetize everything: how many home runs he has, or how many hits he has, or how many, RBIs he has. So these are his statistics. He had nearly 5,000 at bats. He got over 1,500 hits. Now think about that for a minute. That means that almost 1 in 3 times he got up to bat, he got a hit. 1 in 3 times. Okay? Of those 5,000, he threw 756 walks. So that tells you of his pace. So you're talking about almost 1 in every 5 times, okay, almost 20% of the time, he got a walk. Okay? That's incredible. The ratio, I mean, I think it's about like 16 or 17%, but 17% of his at bats were walks. Okay. 972 runs. That's incredible. Okay. 55 triples, which means he could absolutely fly. Okay. And, we talk about it today: home runs. He only hit 141 home runs, but he wasn't about, once again, this isn't about home runs. Girls dig the long ball. Well, no, this wasn't about the long ball back then. This was about scoring runs. Okay. 200 stolen bases. That's incredible. That tells you he had a 313 batting average. That means 1 in every 3 times he got up to bat, he was going to get on base, whether it was by a walk or whether by a hit. His on-base percentage was 410. That's incredible. And his slugging percentage is almost 480. Unbelievable. Now, the reason I bring up these statistics is because, once again, you have to equate it. This wasn't about money or home runs or RBIs or today. This was about doing that. And not only, and so that's the thing, okay? Not only do we have all of this, okay, but what did he do for the game? Now, all the time we talk about players that, how do you want to be remembered? And that's basically, you want to leave the game in a better place than you started. So what he did, of course, was broke the color barrier. Without Jackie Robinson, we don't have the players we have today. We don't. We just don't. And that's incredible to even think about. There is a Jackie Robinson Day because of his because of what he did. So in his memoir, I Never Had Made It, which was published in the same month that he discussed the conflicting feelings he wrestled, on September 30th, 1947, when he was poised to become the first black player or African American player to play in the World Series. He said this. These are his words now. There I was, the black grandson of a slave, the son of a black sharecropper, part of a historic occasion, a symbolic hero to my people. The air was sparkling. The sunlight was warm. The band struck up the national anthem. The flag billowed in the air. It should have been a glorious moment for me. As I write this 20 years later, I cannot stand and sing the anthem. I cannot salute the flag. I know that I am a black man in the white world. In 1972, in 1947, at my birth in 1919, I know that I had never made it. And that's crazy. He couldn't even sing the national anthem. I mean, that's astounding. That really is astounding. But so what other things happened? Okay. One of the greatest closers of all time, and anybody who's a baseball fan knows him, Mario Rivera, okay, played his whole career with the New York Yankees. Was a rookie in 1996 all the way up until, a couple years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. I think he's in the Hall of Fame now. He wore number 42 for Jackie Robinson. He said that he was inspired by him. Rivera came from the Dominican Republic, and he was inspired by him. And he wanted to show his admiration by wearing number 42. Mo Vaughn, who was a player for the Boston Red Sox, also wore number 42. Now, there have been plenty and a lot of players to wear number 42 over their career. But those two players wore it for their whole career. And they were fortunate because the number got retired. So with Jackie Robinson Day, we still have it today. Everybody wears number 42. That being said, no longer can you, if you're coming up in the majors today, you no longer can wear number 42. It is retired across every single baseball stadium in this country. But those two, especially Rivera, said he was very inspirational. So, I mean, Jackie Robinson is just one of those rare people that we talk about. Not only was he talented on the field, but he was talented off the field. Broke the color barrier. Was, socially and politically invested into everything that's happened. Because don't forget, guys, this is right in the middle of the civil rights movement. Having to deal with all this adversity and able to keep grounded because of the one person in his life, and that was Rachel. We should all be so fortunate. We should all be so fortunate. And, he was amazing. And this movie, guys, if you haven't seen the movie, absolutely. Like I said, there are tough portions of the film, okay? But if you want a movie to really give you a smile and uplift you, this is the movie. This is the movie. So, and sports, how they've changed today. So, yeah, that's 42. It was unbelievable. I love the movie. I just so well done. So well done on so many levels. So, anyways, guys. So that's going to do it for 42. Couple of things on the horizon. Number one, we are going into March, which means that what I'm going to do is we're going to do Marvel March. I have a list off the top of my head of about 6 or 7 films that I want to talk to you guys about. One of them, you can actually go back. I'm going to redo one of the films. We just did Black Panther. Okay, and we're not going to do that one, even though it's a near perfect movie. That being said, thank you very much for that, Dadpool. I appreciate that. So what we're going to do for March is I'm going to talk to you guys about a lot of great Marvel movies. I'm talking about Iron Man. I'm talking about Captain America Civil War. I'm talking about Captain America Winter Soldier, which, by the way, guys, and I'll put it here in the thing, if you want to go back, I think it's a perfect movie. I think it saved the MCU. If you want to go back and watch the perfect movie video, I'll put it right up there so you guys can watch it. I'm gonna redo Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy. These are movies I'm gonna be doing all over. Okay, and possibly First Avenger too. Yeah, Joe Jackson did a hell of a job with that. So yeah, I mean, maybe that will probably be Yuki. That will probably be in the second half of the month. Okay, because I want to give you guys all the good stuff first. I'm going to give you guys all the good stuff, Infinity War and Guardians and all that, and then because the second or third, I think it's the third week of March, I'm working. Endgame, maybe we'll see about Endgame. No Way Home, I'm definitely doing. I'm definitely doing No Way Home. So that is another one I was going to do. So I have kind of a list. I'm going to do the Avengers, of course. And then I don't know. I'm thinking about doing like a wrap up video, like a phase 1 video or phase 2 video. We'll see. That might not be. I might just do the retrospectives. Endgame, you know what? Antonius, Endgame is not a bad movie. I don't. I hate Endgame Infinity War. I agree with you. I do agree with you. And the reason being is this. And this was this. So I've sat down and watched the director's commentary of Endgame. Basically, what the Russo said is Infinity War is more of a tragedy. Now, anybody who's familiar with screenwriting and anything else knows that there is a plot point called the point of no return. What they did at the end of Endgame is they ended Infinity War on that plot point. So they had the bad guy win. Cliffhanger. And at that point, what ends up happening is, so the beauty about what they did, you only saw Thanos 4 times. 4 times throughout the whole MCU. You saw him at the end of the Avengers. You saw him at the end of Guardians. Fine, I'll do it myself. And then there was 1 or 2 other times. That's why Infinity War had him all the way through. You didn't see him in Endgame until the very end. I mean, you saw bits and pieces of him, but he wasn't prominent. That was their genius. So they used him all in one movie and very little in the second. Endgame is more. It's a, I think it was Ant-Man that called it a time heist. That's a thing. So Act 1 is kind of like a prelude, finishing up Infinity War. Act 2 is the time heist itself, and then Act 3 is the final battle. The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Iron Man 3 would be good as well. Yeah, they're quite underrated. So those will probably be later on in the month. So I am working all week. I think it's the third week of March. Okay, so I want to get you guys videos out. So that will be for that week, probably. Definitely. There you go. I knew he was in one other one. Thanos was in Endgame or Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron was okay. It wasn't great. It made a boatload of money, and it was good, but it wasn't great. So, and yeah, so for March, guys, I want to give you guys a bunch of Marvel movies and really talk to you guys about what I like. And once again, in the comment section, guys, I want you to tell me if you like this new layout, this new template. I know we're, approaching 45 minutes here, but at the same time, I'm kind of wrapping up. So, but I definitely want you to tell me, do you like this format? Do you don't like it? What could I tweak here and there? Definitely. So Marvel March, that's what you guys are going to be getting for March is Marvel movies. And then, moving forward from that, couple of other things. Number 1, I watched Dune last night. Tomorrow, guys, come back here tomorrow. I don't have a time. Come back here tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a Dune retrospective. 2021 retrospective by Denis Villeneuve, of course, directed Arrival, Sicario, a bunch of other films. Going to go see part 2 on Thursday. So hopefully the goal is, did I get the, no, I didn't, and I'm going to. I'm going to get that on Thursday when I go. So I'm definitely going to get that. You can't see it behind me, but I have like 6 of them. Okay, okay, so I have all these collectors. I have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I have Avatar. I have Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I have The Flash. I have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and there's one more, and I even got the Marvels. So I'm definitely collecting all of these. I might actually do that for you. You actually, that's a good point. I may actually make a video of that, of all of the things I have. Like, yeah, that's okay. I might, yeah, good call, Yuki. I might actually have to do that. Just leading up to it. Um, it's a great format for sure, simple and good. I rewatched the first Dune as well yesterday and saw Dead Zones with Christopher Walken for the first time. Ooh, very good, very good. Of course, Walken is the in Dune 2, so I can't wait to see this. Um, so my favorite bucket is the Deadpool. Oh, nice. And I'm sure they're gonna have a collector's edition for Deadpool too, so that will be good to see. So yeah, come back here tomorrow. I'll figure out what time. I'm gonna be doing a Dune retrospective. Thursday, I'm gonna be going to see Dune 2. It's a 3 o'clock show. I might have a special guest. We'll talk. I gotta touch base with him again. My goal is to be doing a live stream tomorrow night, right around 7 o'clock. I mean, I figure after previews and I get home. So check that out. Um, if you guys, if you missed the live stream, don't worry about it. I will put it out on I'm going to release the video on Saturday. That way, I want, because I want to give people a chance to go see the movie. I know they did a week before, but I wanted people to go, see the movie and come back and see what they thought of it. So that's going to be that. And then, yeah, we got a bunch of other stuff coming up. Like I said, Marvel March is going to be the big thing. And yeah, I mean, I have a chance because I know one of the other films I'm going to be doing is The Green Mile. So The Green Mile is, I think, next Wednesday. I think that's playing for like $5 at my theater. I want to go see that. So I was going to do The Green Mile. I'll probably put that video out later on in the year, but I'll definitely go see that. So there is a ton of stuff that is out there for you guys to do. On that note, okay, anybody who hasn't watched this, and Dadpool, thank you again for re-upping for 7 months. Here's what I'm looking to do, guys. My goal is I'm on the road to 2000, hashtag on the road to 2000. But is memberships. My goal by the end of 2024 is to hit 2,000 subscribers, and I would like 15 to 20 paid memberships by the end of the year. Now, as you can see here, okay, and I'm going to bring this up full screen. It's absolutely free for you guys to join. I've made this extremely cheap for everybody because I know times are tough right now and everything else. I want to make it as extremely affordable as possible. So the first month is going to be free, and then after that, it's going to be $2.99 for the lowest and $10 for the highest. Now, it was a little tidbit. I don't know if people saw this today, but Netflix is raising the prices again. So that means since Netflix is raising their prices, you can't get all this content. I'm talking about the Perfect Movie series. I'm talking about Anatomy of a Movie. I'm talking about the retrospectives. I'm talking about interviews, all of this stuff. And guys, there's no paywall. I'm not putting this stuff behind paywalls. You guys are getting this content absolutely free. And all you have to do is hit that like and subscribe button. That's it. There's no paywalls. So the only thing I would ask for you guys in advance, okay, if you can, okay, is become a member. What it does is it helps me out. Okay. Also, what it does is I want to put all of this money back into the channel. So you guys get bigger and better things. Okay. A new opening like we had for, you'll see at the end of the show and things like that. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to make this a full-time gig, but I need your help to do it. So that's going to be, and like I said, $10 a month. Netflix is just raising the prices. You can't beat this. Anyways, so that is going to do it for today. Like I said, come back here tomorrow for Dune, the retrospective, and we got a ton of stuff coming up in the future. So, as I said, so do the 3 things that you always have to do every single day. There's 3 things: be safe, be careful, and have a great rest of the day. I am David Steele, and you have been watching Real Talks. Bye-bye, guys.